goes on, guys? Welcome to another Alpha Media podcast. Today, we are welcomed by Dave, a YouTuber in a gaming space. Welcome. Obviously, I'm here with Ben, as you guys see. He's wearing a nice hat today. Amazing. Right. So, David, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and life growing up?
No.
Can't.
Well, my name's David. Much like yourself, that is my name, and I'm the little brother of one of you. You dress the same, so I can't tell which one. But yeah, not much else to say really. I like you said, started in the gaming YouTube world. Always been a fan of video games and whatnot. 90s kids, so sort of I think my generation was the generation that sort of grew up with gaming, and it became a big part of my life. So it's taken even more of a bigger part of my life now, which is good.
David is my brother, so it's a bit weird asking the questions because I haven't been there through some of this journey. But for the viewers and listeners, when did sort of your passion for gaming start, David?
I can remember the exact day. I can't, that's a lie. As I said, I definitely think my generation and sort of gaming became much more of a common thing. So I grew up with, as you would know, Ben, our mom actually had a Sega, which if no one knows anything about gaming, this will just completely go over your head. But yeah, like the original Sega with Sonic the Hedgehog on it. And I remember playing that, getting absolutely addicted to that, and another game called Alex the Kid as well, which is a hilarious game to this day. You just go around as a kid with a giant fist, just punching like frogs in the face and stuff.
Are you really punching frogs on the way?
But yeah, then from there I started getting my own consoles and sharing consoles with my brother. Got into first person shooters was a big one, so the Halo franchise was massive for me. Got completely obsessed with that, and that sort of started my love for first person shooters, which is what I mainly play and what my channel and stuff covers as well now.
So for the viewers and the listeners, David has his own brand and gaming YouTube channel. You've been doing it, is it a year now, or you've been doing it longer than a year?
Roughly a year, yeah. Started at the start of lockdown.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was sort of the perfect time when I had sort of the drive and want to do it, but was procrastinating for ages and not really doing it. But as soon as lockdown happened, I was just like, come on, there's no excuses now, just sit down, just get it done. And yeah, a year later, still doing it.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned that a little bit, but when did you realise, obviously, you wanted to take things to the next level and become a gaming brand online? So obviously with COVID, but you like...
Yeah.
What was the sign? What was the sign?
The sign from the heavens. I think, like I said, I had a real passion for gaming anyway. Would play a lot of a game called Destiny, which is the game that I cover now.
Yeah.
And it got to the stage where I was playing it so much, I knew so much about the game that I was just like, I was talking about it non-stop to like my partner and my friends and stuff that have no interest in it whatsoever. So I was like, if I put this online, other people that are actually interested in it might want to actually speak to me back about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was more just sharing the love for the game and stuff, and as I said, sharing like my knowledge and whatnot of the game. And then as I started doing it, I found a love for sort of just making content in general, and then adding like bits of my humor and stuff in it as well. So the focus of the video went from purely educational and informative stuff to more just a reflection of me, I guess.
Yeah, that's good. More comedic vibe, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think this interview is the most serious thing I've ever done.
It's the beginning.
Let's spice it up. So, David, so you've been doing YouTube a year, been playing games for many years, obviously, before that. Sort of, can you explain to the viewers and the listeners sort of the skills and behaviours you've learned on this journey? So, me as a viewer of your channel, even I've noticed like key sort of rapid changes in things, how like quality and stuff like that. So can you just kind of break down that journey for us, especially for anyone who watches this who it's not even just for game, anyone wants to get into a channel for game, but for any niche like for YouTube.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for saying that. I know you have to because we're related, but it's nice to see that, my growth and stuff comes across as well, because I feel like I have developed somewhat. So it's nice to have confirmation on that. But yeah, I think the big ones are, and the more obvious ones are like video editing in general. I went into this with no experience in it whatsoever. So I actually used YouTube to teach myself how to do video editing. And then everything that comes under that with how cameras and stuff work, how lighting works, how crucial the recording process is, because I like the phrase, you can only polish a turd so much, it's still a turd. It would just be a polished one. So the actual recording.
Like a wing. Go in. No jacket.
Just trying to help.
But yeah, the actual recording process is key. So you want to sort of nail that first, and then editing and stuff can make it better, but you can only take you so far. Because I'm a musician as well, I had knowledge already in microphones and sound and stuff, which did help carry over. But it's definitely something you would have to learn if you didn't already know that stuff. Again, that's part of the sort of the building blocks of the recording part, and there's super, super important. Other skills is just being comfortable on camera. So a lot of my content, because it's gaming, a lot of it is of the game, but sometimes I like to record intros or something, so I'm speaking to the camera, or streaming as well, that I occasionally do. Just have to be comfortable on camera. I think other skills that maybe aren't so obvious ones, and this sort of links back to what I said earlier with putting your own personality and stuff into your content. There you'll definitely be inspired by other people, but you don't want to be a carbon copy of them. So you want to find, you can make like the exact same video as someone else, but just by being you, it can come out completely different. And people will gravitate to that and gravitate to you as a person. So they'll more likely follow your entire like channel or your entire career rather than just one particular video.
Yeah, really solid advice. Goodness. What videos? Don't need exact videos, but in terms of general structure or theme, what videos have excelled in growth for your channel the most compared to other ones, do you think?
Yeah. I think I'll provide some background context, so it'll put sort of the figures into more perspective then. So, as you say, I've been doing this for a year. I'm at 350 odd subs, something like that, which is awesome, but still not the 1,000 mark that you need to start earning money from it. So this is still just a passion project for me. It definitely could have grown faster if I was doing it day in and day out, but I just put in what hours I can when I can. So it is like a slow burn, slow growth.
Yeah.
Most of my videos now probably get around 100 to 200 views on average. But I've had a couple that have gone into the thousands, and I've had one that's got to 21,000 views. So they're like the outliers that have completely shot up. So the first one of which, well, the first 3, I think, there's a game called The Avengers, which I'd just started my channel just before this game came out. So I started covering it straight away, and there wasn't many people covering it.
Yeah.
So the few videos I did make got quite a few thousand views because it was a small, not sure if niche is the word, but just not many people making videos covering that particular game. So, yeah, more likely that if you are covering it, you're going to get more views and grow more. So that was the start, which was cool because that gave me like a big jump off point. I started covering more and more Destiny from there, which both games are similar because they're like what you call looting, like RPG type games. So the people that had already started following me, it was a high chance that they would have an interest in the new game I was covering as well. So I wasn't completely changing like my brand and just ditching the people that had already started following me or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was good. So I had that foundation. I'm sorry if I'm blabbering on, by the way. I feel like context is important with all this stuff. And then, yeah, I started covering Destiny. And then there was one weapon in the game in particular that I really love, which is, this is super nerdy territory now, by the way. But yeah, Destiny's a shooting game. And this weapon is like a pistol that you fire from your hip like a cowboy. Like, boo, boo, boo. So I absolutely love like westerns and stuff. So it totally played into my fantasy of I'd made a character that was like a space cowboy and stuff. So I just went all in on this, covering this weapon. Normally the rules for YouTube are like, you want it to be short and sweet, but you want it over like the 8-minute mark to get the watch time to qualify for when you do eventually earn money from it. But this video was the first one I did where it was like 35 minutes long or something, and super long video, super niche, nerdy topic. Like it sort of broke all the rules of YouTube, I guess. But because of that, the people that were like me that completely nerded over this one weapon and were super interested in knowing just everything about it. So I went over the history of it, like the lore behind it, how to use it in game, different like builds and stuff you could use, just everything. That was the video that got 21,000 views, and it got there pretty quickly. Like it just kept going and going, and that was the biggest growth I had in subs as well from that video. So then I emulated the sort of design philosophy. So I made a very similar video about another weapon, with a very similar thumbnail and everything, and that got several thousand views as well. Not as many as like 21, but it got to like 6,000 or 7,000, which again for me was like huge. It's still above and beyond all my what my average is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I sort of started copying that for different videos, and again, I was just growing more and more, and now I've become that's sort of the focus of my content on the whole is like really nerdy stuff and build crafting and going into the like nitty gritty of stuff.
I think that's like a key point now that you touched on through your story there, David, is that going against, this is like in all business really, but sometimes going against the grain and going against all odds and the rules of something or how a platform works, any social media platform, you can end up with better results, so to speak, than stick it to a framework that they say you've got to try these things, you've got to try.
Definitely.
With our channel, we're trying all that different things. To try and obviously see what they're saying that growth.
Yeah, and it can be a fine line. Sometimes these things won't work. So there's definitely some videos that I've tried that have been different, that have like flopped, only had like 20 views or something. But it's all part, especially in like the first few years, you're still learning sort of the craft of making videos. You're learning not only what you like, but what your audience likes and gravitates to. And you can definitely get stuck. If you follow the rules too closely, then again, you'll just be a carbon copy of someone else. So yeah, you have to take risks, take different approaches and stuff, and find just what works for you and what interests you as well.
Have you ever got a video that was already uploaded with a thumbnail and then you've like swapped out the thumbnail and seen any growth after that? Because that's one thing we've kind of...
He's about to get onto that, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of thinking about and discussing about in time, swapping some of our out for ones and different catchy titles and seeing.
I've done it once. Excuse me. And there wasn't significant growth afterwards, but it was definitely higher than what the growth was before it. So I didn't change the thumbnail, but I did change the title, made it more engaging, and changed the description in the video as well, especially the first few lines. They're super key. So yeah, I've done it once, and it did work for me. Well, I guess it looked like it worked for me. It's hard to know whether, if I hadn't done anything, whether that growth would have happened anyway. But but yeah, only once. I was going to say, I sort of have just a personal approach of upload and forget. So as soon as I've done one, I just let it go out there, get received however it's going to get received, and then just start working on the next thing.
Now, obviously you said this is a passion project and stuff, and you do it as you can or when you can in your own time. You ever thought about like the new YouTube Shorts sort of aspect of it and doing small clips? Because I know that's helping channels with growth before releasing a video. That's what we're trying to do with ours as well.
Yeah. I tried a few, and they didn't like pop off or anything. A few like comedic, like funny bits that again focused around the game that I cover, were just either funny things that happened in game or just a funny reaction from me or something. But I didn't focus on them or spend any more time doing it, because even though you could like grow, the possibility of growing from those is quite high, because YouTube likes to promote them and push them more, because it benefits YouTube, people watching those as well, which is an important thing as well to get your head around, is no matter what your video is, if it doesn't benefit YouTube, then they're not going to promote it, because at the end of the day, they're a business, they have to make money from it. But that's a whole nother world of things. But yeah, for me, again, it was just, I knew my content. So because of that video popping off, became more of long form stuff and geeky, nerdy stuff. Shorts was like the exact opposite of that. I think shorts is something where, again, it's short in nature, but it's sort of mass appealing. So you don't want anything too nerdy, whatever. You want it to appeal to as many people as possible. Something like funny or whatever, because it's going to be a case of them just scrolling through their phone or whatever and being like, oh, this is funny, next video or whatever, rather than, I think, educational stuff or informative videos, longer based, because people are specifically searching for this stuff because they want an answer for a question that they have or whatever.
It's funny you say that, because that's what we're seeing with our channel of this, and then Dave has like a separate project and a completely different niche and business and that, and he just shorts and they accelerate. It's just completely different. It's, I'm glad you kind of covered that off and said that. It's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, it is a bit different, I will say, because it's essentially same process is used for this and mine, and I can see a couple of thousand easy. Mine, we haven't really seen much. Obviously, growth is getting there, but it's not the same. You can see the difference how quickly they grow. It's mental.
Yeah,
it's just part of YouTube, I suppose.
That's the thing. At the end of the day, it's always a sort of just throwing stuff and seeing what lands and what takes off. It could be a week's worth of work for someone and they suddenly pop off, or it could be like years worth. Like, it's the nature of the beast, unfortunately.
You've thought of any external sort of marketing of yourself to try to push towards your channel or
anything? What you mean, like paying for promotion and things like that?
Just driving from other social medias, or because I know you do like live stream stuff and that as well. I don't know how that works, if you can drive traffic from that to your channel. In theory you can. I've only had a handful of people that either came from YouTube to my stream or vice versa. I think, again, it's sort of knowing your content. Streams are a very different content to YouTube stuff. Streams are about being in the moment and being there for the live reaction and being sort of part of a community in a way. Everyone, like if you do something epic in the game and then you lose your mind and then all the chat's like exploding and everyone else is like, oh my God. That is what streaming's for, specifically that. Whereas YouTube, you can watch a video for like 10 minutes, go away, come back later and watch the next half hour or whatever. And it's just a completely different kind of content. So the people that gravitate to those different things, I think, are different kinds of people.
And obviously there is some sort of crossover. Like myself, I watch other streamers and stuff, and that I like, and then watch YouTube as well. But there's not too many streamers that I watch where I specifically follow their YouTube stuff as well. I sort of have different YouTubers that I like and the different streamers that I like, and because they are different worlds of content.
Have you tried collabing with some as well? Just reaching out just to see if they can maybe,
Yeah, a couple times. I streamed over on Facebook. I bounced around a little bit, tried YouTube and stuff as well. But at the time, I was on Facebook and met a few people on there, either by them coming into my stream and saying hello or going into their stream, which is an excellent way of networking, by the way. That's another skill that you need to learn. I think with any business, networking is always key. And with online, the best way, and specifically for like gaming and streaming and stuff, is joining other people's communities and just getting your name and sort of online face out there. So not just joining someone's stream and being like, here's my stream, come see me. And that's frowned upon. That's like, opening a, that's like opening a sweet shop across the road from someone else's shop, and you have zero stock, but you just walk in and just take theirs and take it across and be like, hey, come here instead. It's but yeah, just so I got involved in other people's communities, and then we did do a couple of collaboration streaming sort of games that were the best of all the games we were covering, because we weren't all necessarily covering the same game either. I forgot the promotion thing. I remember now. I streamed on Facebook and stuff and had some growth there. I do have an Instagram account and stuff as well, but I don't post on there too often. Again, I think my content, I focus on more long form content. Instagram again is very short and sort of, so I sort of, by knowing the content that my audience is interested in and knowing the stuff that I'm interested in, it just wasn't for me, and didn't have any interest in pursuing like Instagram and stuff more.
And now, quick break for adverts.
To talk about what we're about here at Alpha Media. We inspire others to start an online business, give them the blueprints, show them the way to start making their first commission online, escape the 9 to 5. We should have a link listed somewhere, either around or beneath this video in the description. If you click on that link, you'll go through to a web page. On that web page there'll be a video with myself or Dave talking through what those sort of next steps look like and through that process. Apart from that, thank you for taking the time to watch our content and enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Canva is a graphic design tool that works to simplify the process of digital design. Canva allows for image editing and project-based learning using a simple drag-and-drop interface that works well even for younger students. From brainstorming as a group working collaboratively to individual project creations, it has lots of potential uses in the classroom. If you would like to try your skills at Canva, please click the link in the description.
As far as paying wise, I know a few people that have, especially on Facebook, you can pay to get your page or a post or whatever promoted more. And people that I know that have done that got big number growth, but very little actual growth, as in returning people coming back and actually watching their streams or whatever. I definitely think there's no shortcut for hard work. So if you just put in the hours, you'll get dedicated people and dedicated followers. And I would much rather have like 1,000 dedicated people that are there week in and week out than 10,000 people that might not be there at all.
We're like that conversation even without that now.
Yeah. We only go for the real ones.
Yeah. Keep it real.
I think just kind of touching on, elaborating a bit on what you just said there is with the content aspect is hoping the viewers, the listeners get some out of this as well, as that when you're starting out, you can overthink the process of content and get too, like you said right at the start, it's fascinating. You have got to put yourself out there, you've got to go for it a bit, but there still is an element of that reflection, I feel, later on, and looking back and, like you said earlier, and seeing what sticks, and that element of content.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, when I first started out, it was like, content's content, you know what I mean? It's just an image with a dark, decent caption, it'll get views. It's not, there's just so much more.
Yeah.
That was obviously an example for Instagram, but
yeah.
So there's a lot more to it. Then at the same time, don't get too hung up that it sort of paralyzes you to keep the consistency and keep going. Really.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's so much that can go into it, and you can definitely grow faster by following certain rules and looking at your analytics and everything, and really like going through with a fine-tooth comb and seeing what works, what doesn't. But first of all, you won't know what does and doesn't work for you until you try it. So you have to try all these different things first. But also, there's a weird sort of mental health game that goes on with content creating. And I think if you get too bogged down on the analytics and seeing what people do or don't like, you start questioning sort of yourself and your self-worth and everything else. And I think it can be quite a dark hole to go down. So you definitely have to be wary of that and be like, okay, this is useful information. I can take this and actually develop myself or whatever from this. And then also know what analytics sort of just best left to ignore and be like, I don't care if this video worked or not. I enjoyed making it. And these are the lessons I learned from making it. So I'll use those lessons to make a better video next time or whatever.
We've definitely been through that a little bit. You just said there, that journey even recently when questioning
every single bit of everything that we did, didn't we? But it's one of those things. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and everyone does it as well. So like I said, I personally have a pretty good means of switching off if I don't know, there's trolly comments, or if you've spent like 2 weeks working on a video, uploaded it, and then it's got like 3 views or whatever. Like I've done that plenty of times. But you just have to be like, it's the nature of the game, and just take away, just focus on the positives, what skills you learnt by making it, whether you enjoyed making it, whether the actual kind of content it is you enjoyed doing. Because if you're not enjoying making stuff, then it's not sustainable. You ain't going to be able to do it long term or whatever. So, and then if one person comments a nice thing or one person likes it, even though you've got 100 people that might not like it, try and focus on the one. If that person's like, this connected with me, there's going to be thousands of other people in the world that feel the same way, and it will connect to them. They just haven't come across your video or your content yet.
Yeah. So, what are your future dreams and goals, obviously, for your brand and for your YouTube channel? Where you're sort of like, let's say, 5 years, where do you see yourself?
Yeah. Retiring with a massive mansion and a pool of gold that I can jump into.
There we come.
It's what we all want. No, my immediate goal is to reach that 1,000 subs mark. So yeah, it was like 100. I got there, and then it was like 200 and so on. So 1,000 is like the next big goal for me. With regards to long term, 5 or plus years, I would love to be able to do this full time, but alongside my music. Again, I'm a musician, so I want both to be sort of my career, and just make them work around each other. And then be able to stream, make YouTube stuff and whatnot, and earn not an insane amount of money, but enough to just get by, enough to pay the mortgage and just be comfortable and enjoy myself. I think I definitely place a lot of value in enjoying what you're doing and just enjoying life. So I enjoy playing video games. I enjoy making and playing music. If I can do both and pay the mortgage, what else do you need to? Yeah, what else is there in life?
Brilliant. I think people do get too hung up on the later goal and the big goal, and I've definitely been there myself many times where I hung up on even.
Yeah, I think it's important to have an end goal in mind, but I hold more value in short-term achievable goals and knowing like this is what I want to do next, and this is what I have to do to get there. And then I definitely prioritize those sorts of goals. But I think a lot of people, especially when it comes to the YouTube world and streaming and stuff, because it's become a big thing in the recent years, like everyone's trying to do it, and good on them. Anyone can do it. And why would you want to work a 9-to-5 job when people take advantage of you and whatnot, when you could possibly have a dream job making videos and enjoying, again, what you do and earning enough money to get by? I think that second one's an important bit. So what I was going to say was a lot of people focus on trying to make like millions, on be like, oh, I want to be the next Ninja or Dr. Disrespect or whatever, and for those that don't know, they're like some massive streamers. They've been there from like when streaming started, and they've got ridiculously huge. But there's so many people, more people that make enough money on YouTube and stuff to just earn like a normal wage. They can pay their mortgage, they can pay their bills, they get food, and they have enough to go on holidays occasionally and whatnot. And again, that's a much more achievable goal and something that anyone can do. Whereas the people that earn millions and stuff, it is sort of a select few in a way. I mean, again, anyone has the potential of getting there, but the chances of getting there are much significantly lower than just earning enough to get by.
When you take that personal aspect away, and it's like a generic goal of that thing, and I want to be like them, or you project, I guess, your goal outwards of yourself. I've done this many times. It is exactly what you say. Let's get the passion's lost of even putting in the consistency and what it takes, and the goal's too far in the future. If you just focus on that end goal. you're right, it's making it more personal to you, realistic, and then small achievements. And that's on our journey of this, that's where I've changed the most, is that, and Dave's helped me with that, to be honest, is be happy with what you've achieved today, and it's them little
goals every day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, and it comes back to that sort of weird mental health game that I think social media in general sort of doesn't really help with. But I think at this point it's a necessary evil. Again, that's a different conversation. But just setting realistic goals, and then even if you don't achieve all of it, be happy with what you did achieve, and then just saying to yourself, what lessons have I learned from this? What can be taken away? And then how can I implement those lessons to either achieve the same goal in a different time period or a different goal? And I think life's about learning, and we're all going to fall short sometimes, but you just take what you can away from it.
I didn't put this on the main question. It's kind of on to me tonight, really, is where do you see the future of gaming itself? Like, to what level? Obviously, we did a video on our thoughts on this and with the metaverse and everything, and maybe share stuff that you'd like to see as well.
Well, I think you guys sort of nailed it. I think the metaverse thing is definitely going to become a big thing. The sort of what I think the dark side of the future, the Darth Vader of the future, is a lot more microtransactions in games, sort of promoting and encouraging gamers to spend real money on in-game currencies and stuff, and all the sort of business side that comes with that. That's definitely come in the past 5 years or so. It's become right to the forefront of gaming already, and it's definitely going to become more and more, especially as things like the metaverse and whatnot comes to light and comes bigger. I can imagine driving a car in GTA with like VR on, and then suddenly an ad for I don't know, Manscaped or something pops up, and then you end up crashing, and you're just like, oh. But personally, on the more positive side, I think gaming will just become more and more acceptable. And again, it's become sort of that way in the past 5 or 10 years. More and more sorts of people do it. But as I said at the start, I'm from the generation that sort of grew up with it. So it's sort of the first generation that's really had gaming at the forefront. And for most of my childhood and most of my sort of teenage years and stuff, it was considered a really nerdy and geeky thing to do. And still now people are like, I don't understand how you can play games all night or whatever. And I'm like, well, you spend all night watching Netflix or whatever. This is what I do instead. This is what I enjoy. And it's starting to become more and more popular. A lot more females are playing. A lot more females are streaming it as well, which is awesome. A lot more kids and stuff are getting into it, but also older people. You see these like random Instagram stories or whatever of someone's grandma absolutely destroying people in Call of Duty, which is awesome to see. So yeah, just more accessible for everyone, because I think it's a fantastic thing.
Obviously, the microtransactions and obviously how that's sort of evolving with that, right? So I've recently read something that BMW has already invented microtransactions. If you, for example, you want to have a subscription to heated seats or something like, some other service like a SAP, or whatever, infotainment system. We're already there. Like, it's crazy. Like, oh yeah, I'm just going to subscribe for a monthly heating seats. Like, that's just going to be super. And if you don't pay, if the direct debit get cancelled, you haven't got one. That's just mental, isn't it? It's not going to work.
Yeah. Well, you've sort of reminded me then, a big thing that's happened just in the past year is, both Microsoft and Sony, which are arguably two of the biggest like gaming companies, have been buying up all these smaller sort of or gaming companies. Like, I'm forgetting the actual words for stuff now, but like, they're buying up like a company called Activision, who are huge and make countless games, and Microsoft bought them for $68 billion or something ridiculous, and Microsoft specifically released something where it's basically a subscription service where they just have hundreds and hundreds of games, and they're all free to play for a subscription every month. So it's basically the gaming version of Netflix.
I think Google,
and now Sony are doing their version of it as well. That's definitely going to take off more and more.
I think Google done that as well. Stadia, isn't it?
What was that? Sorry.
You pay them a month, you can play all the games just by.
Yeah. And Stadia, it's just streaming, so you can do that anywhere as well. So you don't even need a console for that. Then you can sit on the toilet with your tablet or whatever, and then you can have a TV downstairs so you can leave your tablet on the toilet. I don't know why you would, but and then walk downstairs, and the game would be on the TV down there as well for you, because you're just streaming it basically. Dropping bombs. Yep. But yeah, so that's definitely going to take off more and more. But again, there is just this sort of undercurrent of the thing that I don't like is the business side of things, where I understand they have to make money, but I also think Microsoft don't need to earn too much money. I'm pretty sure their profits are comfortable as they are without forcing kids and stuff into microtransactions, and because it's sort of a form of gambling in a way. And there's definitely like an evil tone to it as well.
Definitely. So what sort of obstacles have you had to overcome on your journey so far, and any sort of immediate, like social media or YouTube specifically, tips that you'd give to beginners just starting out?
Yeah. So I think the big one is the mental health game again. Not letting, as soon as you put anything on the internet, whether you're content creating or just put in a picture of you at the beach up on Facebook or whatever, the trolls are going to come. Like, unfortunately, there's people out there who, for whatever reason, find enjoyment out of bringing other people down. Excuse me. Trolls are going. So yeah, not letting those comments affect you too much. Knowing with creating content, knowing your like self-worth, and knowing like if you have spent a week or whatever making a video, and again, if it doesn't land, if it gets 0 views or whatever, just rather than taking the negatives of like, oh, no one likes what I'm making or whatever, just think, all right, this one didn't work. Why is that? The more logical approach. But also what did I like about this video, and how can I implement that into my next video? Did I like this one joke or whatever I made? To me, felt like it reflects my personality more. So then in your next video, you can add that lesson into it and whatnot. And the more physical obstacles and stuff, again, learning all the skills is still an ongoing thing. Learning about video editing and whatnot is a super long process. And that I definitely hold more value in learning these skills and stuff. So either I've done it for free, learning everything I need to know about video editing so far. Yeah, I've just used YouTube and just watched other people just teaching you, because YouTube's great for everything. No matter what you want to learn, you can learn it on there. But yeah, if you're wanting to like pay for video editing skills or whatever, I find more value in that than paying for like a better camera or microphone or whatever, because those are skills that you can take on like forever. Whereas a microphone or camera or whatever, there'll always be better mics, better cameras coming out and whatnot. And then you still won't have the skills to know how to use them, if you know what I mean. Yeah, obstacles wise, I know I went on a bit of a tangent there. I think most of it is sort of just a mental game, because again, you'll have videos that don't do that well with numbers and whatnot. You might have a video where people are having nasty comments or whatever. You might have an obstacle where you wanted to get a video done in a week, and 3 weeks later you've still not done it. I think that's still a mental related thing, a mental obstacle where you have to sort of ask yourself, why is it taking me so long to do this? Why are these comments, whatever, bothering me? And always try and put a positive spin on things.
100%.
So, for obviously our listeners and our viewers, where can obviously people go find you online? And do you think obviously online education through platforms like YouTube will continue to grow? I think obviously I know you've picked up on that a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can find me on YouTube, Dave the Spade or Dave the Spade Gaming, both work. Unless you're into Destiny, it might not be for you, because that is specifically the content I make. But yeah, I stream on Facebook, Dave the Spade Gaming again as well. And then, yeah, I do have an Instagram, but don't upload very often, so don't be disappointed if I don't upload anything. I'm really selling myself here, aren't I? For growth, if it's growth you're after, trends are definitely good to get on the back of. So YouTube Shorts, TikTok, anything like that are always good, because they appeal to the masses. So it's short content, so therefore it's easy to make. It won't take you weeks or whatever to make a video. You can literally do it in a space of a couple of hours and upload it. And therefore you can make more often. So that come into the second thing, which is consistency. If you can upload daily, that's awesome, because again, YouTube is going to promote stuff that benefits them. So if you're uploading daily, they're like, oh, there's a higher chance people are going to watch these videos daily, because people, if they're enjoying your content and stuff, they're going to keep coming back. That's more views and stuff for YouTube. And if that's daily rather than like once a month, then YouTube's going to be like, this is worth our investment, because otherwise they're going to invest in someone else that is promoting daily or whatever, uploading daily, sorry. So yeah, I think, yes, social media is a necessary evil. Twitter and stuff's great. You can get direct communication with your fans and your audience and stuff through Twitter, which is the same reason why celebrities like movie stars and whatever use Twitter as well. It's that direct communication that you can have that makes your audience feel more invested in you as a brand, and as a person as well. But obviously that again opens the door to trolls and whatnot as well. But I think there's definitely a value in understanding what kind of growth is usable. So again, I'll link this back to what I said earlier with people I know that paid for promoting or getting their stuff promoted, and would have like 300 plus people subscribe to them over the sorry, my teenage voice came out again then. Balls dropped mid conversation. I forgot where I was now. People paying for promotion. Yeah, you could get like 300 subs overnight, but if they're not 300 people that are going to watch your videos every time you upload, then it's a throwaway sort of figure. They don't mean anything. So yeah, knowing what growth is important, I think, is the key thing. Fast growth is not necessarily the best thing either. Again, for some people have had like real mental health problems and stuff from exploding too much too quickly and then couldn't take it and whatnot. So there's nothing wrong with a slow burn and just being happy with acknowledging that it might take a while, but knowing what your end goals are and whatnot.
Obviously, obviously your channel's sort of like Destiny based, isn't it? So you can make money. Have you tried maybe playing different, like online, for example, like obviously Call of Duty, maybe something?
Yeah. I've streamed different stuff. There's a significant drop in stream viewers and stuff whenever I do stream something else, but I'm less bothered about that because again, streaming is a sort of in the moment sort of thing. So the people that are there will just enjoy being there in the moment or whatever. YouTube's a different game. If pun wasn't intended then, but funny nonetheless. It's a different beast, YouTube, because if you upload a different game to your like main channel, so for example, if I'm mainly Destiny and I upload a Call of Duty thing, even though it's still a first-person shooter, YouTube won't push that as much. They'll be like, well, your audience isn't going to like this, so this doesn't benefit us, so why would we promote this? So there's very few people on YouTube that can make it work uploading different stuff. You sort of have to do it from the get-go, be a variety content guy straight off the bat. Or if you actually brand yourself as a comedy brand, but your comedy is based in games, so then you play loads of different games, but the main focus of your content is sort of how you react to those games or whatever. I think, that's an important distinction. And so, I've not really done it too much because YouTube will punish you for doing it. And that's why you have loads of people that have 6 or 7 different channels as well for different games, because you'll bite yourself in the ass basically if you upload too much variety of stuff, especially if your audience is sort of already set.
Very good point. So that's on the video where we end out now, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this content today, and I guess David on. Thank you, David, for being on our podcast today. And if any of you watching this,
thank you for having me.
Inspired by sort of becoming your own sort of brand or online business, whether it is with YouTube or the means of getting sort of leads to your sort of brand or anything like that. There's got to be a way that you can capture them leads, a way to sort of get them leads to your website, to your brand, and to ultimately make a living from if you want to become financially free. So if it's something that you're interested in but you don't know how to go about it, and you don't know and you want to know the quickest way of getting there, and you want to cut out all the what we've said on our podcast before, all the fluff that's on YouTube, and please give our links a click down below in our description and stuff. See what we're about, and we will show you the blueprints and show the way how to make a living online. So leave your 9 to 5. So, David, where can our viewers and listeners go to sort of to see your content, or to DM you, or get hold of you?
For me, I just wanted to say obviously thanks for being on the podcast. Appreciate that. A lot of the good information you've given us. For viewers, for listeners, even for us, obviously, maybe start getting sort of evolved with what we're doing and how we're creating content. For our viewers and listeners, like and subscribe for our videos, new content coming in weekly. Just so you know, obviously we're on Spotify and on YouTube. So yes, we love you, trolls. Comment down below. It's been a pleasure from Dave, and Ben. See you next week.